On today's Tread Talk, we're doing a little bit of a rant about government organizations that need contractors to do things, okay? And I don't have an issue with that. I think there needs to be more of that. I think the government should do less and facilitate members of the economy to do more. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And I think that's good. So kudos, right? Not much of a rant so far. I've talked about before how important it is to set metrics that motivate behaviors, that motivate like, hey, this is what I'm being measured on, so I need to do this thing to get that measurement. And this measurement should be motivating the behavior that the management wants. And if you do that, everybody, it's called a win-win. And in a win-win, everybody wins. And the team member will do what the management wants because they want the carrot. And that's a win for them. And then because they did the thing that the management wanted, that's a win for the management. So you're getting wins all over the place. The way these government organizations are run and measured makes me question whether or not our collective IQ isn't closer to 40. So I had a call relatively recently where an organization that was facilitating government contracting was discussing their goals to create more ready and available contractors to reduce the cost of the acquisition process. So the way they're measuring the goal is the cost of the acquisition process. Okay? So you're running it like a business, is what you're telling me, when the main focus of the government organization is to reduce cost. Now, and then the other thing is like time to acquisition, or like trying to just do the acquisitions faster. If I'm building out the system, I would say to the organization that was being given the goal to reduce the cost of the acquisition process, we want to increase the yield on when we contract somebody, so that rather than just speeding up choosing somebody, your goal is to reliably get the outcome from the people that you contract. Now, it's a little different. It's a couple of chess moves further. So don't, stick with me, because it might blow your freaking mind. If you have an abundant amount of quality contractors that specialize in different things, because you fostered a community that develops businesses by giving, which is what the government's literally there for, is to foster growth, which is kind of what they're trying to do here. But just, it's like the two chess move thought versus the like, do it right. So when you have all those options, then you can say, well, look at all these people who've applied. Which one's best? Which one's most likely to get the result? Instead of whatever, instead of regulating it to death so that you don't have to sort through some shitty applications, but then you don't have any applications at all. And the reason they don't have any applications at all is because as a business owner that does contract work, and my company that does contract work, it is so much easier to just deal with another small business owner or medium business owner or even a corporation, God help me, than it is to go through these hyper-regulated processes with no communication, no feedback. So then the government's like, well, nobody's applying and we can't get the work done. So then they spend money on an organization to do the work of making it easier to get the work done. So we're spending the money that could be used on just having resources available to make it easier to be contract. Don't pay this other organization to make other organizations capable, because they don't give a fuck. They're in it for what they're getting paid for the government to do. They already got their contract. They don't care about, they don't really, the government cares because they're trying to get the work done. So instead of funneling money into a different place, put it out there in the form of workshops, in the form of community events, in the form of having people follow up on the bids. All that's money that could be in-house in the government, owned by the government, so some nefarious actor could easily be, managed or whatever, seen, hopefully. But it's a whole lot harder if it goes into another organization. So then you have it inside the government, and you're able to see what results are happening, but that requires making it easier to apply and then having people there to find the right ones. Now, again, if you were to give this to another organization and say, hey, figure this out for us, then you would want to be increasing the number of available options for contractors, and then when they complete either a bid or when they complete work, a feedback process should happen if you want them to improve, okay? And this is only coming from somebody that was taught to teach people how to teach people how to teach people how to train people. So, it's pretty important to be able to develop a workforce if you're in a Domino's, or a pool of contractors, which is just a different kind of fucking work, excuse my language, it's a different kind of workforce. And if you're saying, well, I want to speed up and reduce the cost of getting contractors, then if you want to speed it up, you need more. And if you want to reduce the cost, you need more to choose from so that they have to lower their prices to be competitive. That means that's competition. If you want to create competition, you need to give them what they need to be competitive. And I'm not, as a small business owner myself, and I wouldn't advise any of the people that I work with that are small business owners to do this. I can't spend 5 to 10 hours on a bidding process to do it right and genuinely put a real bid together instead of just say, copy, paste, ChatGPT, you just do it. If I'm gonna really consider what can I do and what's the cost, how could I do it right, then it needs to take 5 to 10 hours. And if there's zero feedback process and there's zero accountability on those that are choosing the bidding process, then it's much more challenging for somebody to spend that time when they could do it in a way that was guaranteed. So if you're the government trying to get more fucking contractors, the way that you're going to go about doing that is making it valuable for the contractors to be a part of the process. And that means follow-up, and that means ways to be successful. Now, on this call, I was expressing, doesn't make a lot of sense for me to spend this time, doing work that's not compensated for, to apply for contracts that nobody follows up on. And I don't know if it was a joke. I don't know if it was irony. I don't know what. But I said, you get follow-up a lot easier from small businesses, and as a small business operator, I need to be moving in a space where there's follow-up and my time is at least appreciated in feedback so that growth is possible, because I'm in the space where that's what's happening. And what was said shocked me. It was, well, the government doesn't need to follow up. And again, I don't know if she was joking, or I don't know if this is how people in government think. But let me tell you this. When I'm operating restaurants, if I want change to happen within the operation, the only way that change happens is if I put my attention on it and I make the manager also put their attention on it. Now, if they've never thought about their food cost, don't you think I might have to say it a second time, which is follow up? If I ask somebody to do a cash count before and after rush to make sure things aren't being stolen, and they just go through a Friday rush, they made 400 pizzas. They had 200 people come in and out of the store. They're tired. They just let, however many team members off the clock. They're doing all these, they're busy. You think I'm not going to need to follow up on that? That's me as the leader. Now, I'm not sitting there with my big freaking ego like what I thought I heard from this person, saying, well, I'm the boss. I don't need to follow up. You're the responsible one. And if you're not the responsible one, don't take my tax dollars. If you're not following up, which is the most basic function of leadership, don't take my tax dollars. If you have the hubris that quality, consistent execution, which includes quality and consistent communication, is only for those that are lesser, you are not fit for leadership. You are not fit to run anything, and you will never get results. And I don't doubt, I would say that to anybody in any moment if they neglect their responsibility as a leader to communicate, be consistent, and the rest. Tell me if I'm wrong. I would love to start a conversation about this.